And we finished this chapter on individual behaviour by looking at these two modern contemporary organisational behaviour issues. So first of all, understanding generational differences, both as an employee and as a manager, and how they can impact on people's behaviours and attitudes in the workforce, and the issue of bullying. So first of all, we have these 5 different generations that we specify. So our book only goes up to, it doesn't include Gen Z, and it does include veterans, which you probably won't see too many of in the workforce anymore, just because they've sort of aged out of the workforce. But you may have a little bit to do with them. And so veterans who were sort of born before about 1940, I think, tend to be people that are very oriented towards respect, loyalty, doing a good job, and sort of having a job for life. And generally speaking, these I've just summarised here for each of the different generations, some of their key preferences. So the book does go into a little bit more detail, but you can see here that some of these differences mean that if you're a manager or you're working with different age groups, they're going to potentially have different orientations and different interests that are going to, and things that are going to be, if you reward those things, are going to maybe be more aligned. And similarly, if you discourage certain things that they're aligned to, so say, for example, if you're dealing with a baby boomer and you're discouraging competitive behavior, that might not feel like a good fit for them. But of course, we don't want to be necessarily stereotyping people. So we can use these as sort of broad guides that allow us to have a bit of an insight into what might be a key driver for somebody, but also being able to be nuanced enough to be able to kind of dig in a little bit more and say, well, is this aligned to something that is just maybe innate as a consequence of when they were born? Is this more a basis of their personality? And what kinds of things might we use to encourage this person in the workforce and to make them feel like they're progressing and doing a good job? So I'll let you have a bit of a look at that and also dive into the content in the book. And also based on what generation you're in, and maybe thinking about your parents or other friends or relatives, do these fit? Do these align? And do they give you some potential insights into who they are and what sort of is helping drive them or making them tick in some way? And then our last topic is the idea of bullying. So we have this definition of bullying here, which I'll just read out for the purpose of working through all the words that they throw in. So we're talking about repeated exposure to negative actions, such as a purposeful. So can bullying be inadvertent? Potentially, but in this case, we're talking about purposeful attempt to injure or inflict discomfort. So we're talking about deliberate actions here that are designed to harm in some way upon somebody else, either through words, physical contact, gestures, or exclusion from a group of peers. I think that should say group of peers over time. And so generally speaking, what we're talking about is behaviour that tries to intimidate, degrade, offend, or humiliate someone else. And so our book provides a really good, thorough description of bullying and also provides a list of techniques and things that we can do about it. But I think the main thing to be said about bullying is that like in a lot of things that are harmful to others, where we tend to focus on the victim and think about, you know, trying to help or assist the victim, which is important. But the other side of it is that we actually don't want bullies in our organisations. So as much as it's important to support anyone who is a victim of bullying, we also need to make sure that we don't enable or support bullying to continue. So the book provides us with some options that would help us try and navigate that situation. So I'll leave that with you there, and I'll see you in our next module when we come to it.